All right, how many of you guys have been here before? I know, yep, you. Everybody else is new? Okay, we're gonna do this really off the cuff. Normally, I do a little bit of an explanation, which I will do. But today, what I'm gonna do is more try to help you guys. Every year I do this. Every year I do a dream analysis class. And by the time we get to the end of the class, when people are really starting to ask me questions, sometimes it's more it's the explanation takes a little bit longer. And by the end of the class, I have a lot of people who are like, you have a lot of questions. For everybody who's on here, like I said before, if what you think your dream means is too private, you don't want everybody else knowing, find me afterwards. I make myself available. Everybody knows that. I will talk to anybody and everybody, not shy. I have my own radio shows. I'm very used to being able to speak. Like I said, your dream world is it's a real mixture. Now, how many of you do not dream? You think you're like this?
I mean, it's rare if I ever do.
You just don't. And many psychologists will tell you this. You don't remember it. You have to dream in order to actually continue existing, to be biologically okay. You have got to dream. The brain has got to release all that excess information. It's dumb. It's like a computer, CPUs. When your drive overloads, what do you have to do? You have to back it up or put it up to the cloud, do something that allows it to get some more space. Our brain categorizes different things. So when you're dreaming, basically, you have different files that things are going into or coming out of. And that's what I never have tried to say to a class because I think I lose them with the definition. Almost everything you dream about is metaphorical. There is no such thing as dream trash. You'll hear people say, oh, it's just a fluke, it was just a dream, don't worry about it, don't panic, don't do this. There's really no such animal as a fluke. Your subconscious manifests things in many different ways. Sometimes it's the drama queen. I would say that, yeah, your subconscious can definitely be a drama queen. It'll scare the hell out of you. And you'll be like, what was it? You'll wake up sweating, crying, and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna die tomorrow. And that's really not what your subconscious is trying to say. It's trying to say, hey, you've had a big life-altering event, and it's really shaken a lot around you, and you haven't taken a moment to acknowledge it. So here we go. We're gonna keep you up half the night, sweating and crying, to make you acknowledge what's going on. And tomorrow morning, you're actually gonna feel a little bit better. You're gonna wonder, and you're gonna forget. How many of you forget your dreams? Yeah, that's normally the greater percentage. We found 95 to 98% of people actually forget their dreams. How many of you keep a dream dictionary or a diary? Are you really interested in getting to know what your dreams mean? You need to start keeping track. When you have a dream, keep a book next to your bed. Just jot it down, because you're gonna wake up. Good, bad, ugly. Dreams only last 90 seconds to 120 seconds on average. Longest dream in the world. You could be running for what you think is a lifetime in your subconscious, and it's only been 90 seconds to 120 seconds in real time. That's an honest goodness truth, because your brain compartmentalizes everything, and it fractionalizes it. So what you think is a really long period of time, it's not. And again, a lot of times it's trying to get you to acknowledge things you are not acknowledging in your conscious life. With that, who wants to give me their strangest dream? Can anybody think of what their strangest dream was? Besides what I call direct connect dreamers. Direct connect is a different category. Real quick explanation on that. How do I explain this? What I believe direct connect dreamers are doing, and psychologists will tell you this does happen. People do have what we call prophetical dreams. They are discernment. They are showing us something coming. Some psychologists will say it's just a coincidence that these time periods happen to match up. But when that's happening more than 34% of the time, it's no longer scientifically considered a coincidence. Now you're going more into the question mark, WTF, what do we do now? Because now you're showing a pattern or a proficiency to do something that is not normal, according to them. According to me, no, that's not true. According to me, if you knew how to translate your metaphorical dreams, you'd realize exactly how prophetic you are. I believe direct connect dreams are as a result of basically our conscious energy jumping while we're sleeping. I am a person who believes, I don't like the word collective consciousness, but I do believe that we are surrounded by frequencies and energies at all times. We are, as human beings and as creatures on this planet, we consist of mass. We vibrate. That's how we hold together. That's how I have this body. That's why I can't touch any one of you, actually physically touch you by scientific definition. You guys know that, right? Do y'all know that? I go up here and I touch her. I'm not actually touching her. She actually has a field around her body, or a magnetic field, and I have, that causes us to repel each other. We don't ever physically touch. Your brain sends a message telling the rest of your body that I've touched her, sending a feeling to my hand, sending a feeling to her arm. That's how it works. That's why I say we vibrate. We're constantly vibrating at a very rapid rate of speed. One of the things that people do not recognize is that while we are vibrating as mass, our DNA on a very, very tiny molecule is actually a superconductor. And it also vibrates. Again, I'm not making this up. These are scientific facts. You can look them up. My thing with that, and I've always said it since I was, started studying this, is okay, so DNA is inside a vibrating shell. You have the DNA in there, it's vibrating, it's oscillating. That means it's sending and receiving. It's like a satellite dish. So we're getting messages in from our environment, and we're pushing messages out into our environment. Thus, we have sensitives, we have empathics. We all know that empathics exist. Again, scientists will tell you that we have animal traits that allow us to be able to feel or read feelings. They are not sure if it's body language we're reading or if we're actually reading the biokinetic energy in between us. But they can say that people are able to read a room. They're able to read other people. We do know that married couples, when they dream, when they sleep next to each other, they're sharing dreams. That has been proven. I mean, the U.S. Army actually did a 10-year detailed study on why their Rangers and their special forces, their wives were aware of their missions at a certain percentage of the time, where the guys had not said a word. They were all put through lie detector tests. Nobody understood how these women had some details of these missions. It turned out they were dreaming, and the messages were going back and forth between. Again, look it up. The information is out there. So again, we go back to that. Okay, so if we're sending, receiving, sharing information, we're networking. It's like a cloud. We're sending all. What happens when we go into a deep state of REM? When we go to sleep and our physical body is at a complete state of rest. Where does our consciousness go, or does it go? Is it able to jump from the body, surf that internet, go up there, surf that grid, find different information? My answer from personal experience, yeah, something's going on. Because, like I always tell people, direct connect dream, all of your senses are heightened to a degree that's ridiculous. You are able to smell, touch, feel, taste, all of them are there. And it's not a small degree. It's an incredibly amplified degree. I mean, it burns into you because I've had dreams that I can tell you to this day what something smelled like, because it literally burned into my senses. And I woke up and I actually smelled it for like 2 days, like an after smell. That's not normal, but it happens. Metaphorically speaking, again, if you have your subconscious that's trashing you, saying, you wake up, you did something really stupid today, and I'm here to flag it for you. Here we're doing a replay. This girl said this to you behind your back while you were working, and while you didn't consciously hear it, I heard it. So now I'm going to kick your butt in the middle of the night and let you know that, yeah, you know that little dog that you can't see that's biting in your dream and leaving blood trails? That means somebody's talking behind your back. And you need to pay attention to your surroundings. Be aware. Not necessarily fight back. Aware. And I always tell people that dreams are not about the ability to predict and fix. They're not about predicting an event in the future and stopping it. It's not about being a hero. And trust me, because I've had world event dreams that have shaken me to my core, and I could snot. Not one thing about it. You want to know why? Because if I made that call, I'd be sitting in the loony bin. We all know it. Either that or I'd be tested, I'd be a guinea pig. And I'm not so much a good guinea pig. I tend to not like to be caged. But all of our dreams are telling us something. No, it's not to make you powerful. It is not to make you superhuman. It's to allow you to learn and to try to not prevent, but protect as best you can from what is going on, whether it be in your personal life, whether it be in everything surrounding. Everybody has different metaphorical values to their dreams. And again, 98% of dreamers are metaphorical dreamers. They're not direct connects. And a lot of times they do not know how to discern what is what. I only know how to discern what is what because I literally will wake up and, like I said, I can smell everything still. I do not forget them. I mean, moment to moment to moment, I can tell you every detail. And I never, or as the years go by, I never forget. And like I said, and it's especially when the validation comes. That's probably the worst part, depending on the type of dream. I mean, some of us have dreams, like I always know when somebody's pregnant in my family. Yeah, I actually have people avoid me. Bearer of bad news right here. In fact, my daughter on her second pregnancy, she came to my house, I just looked at her, I was like, I don't want to talk to you. I do not want to talk to you. She's like, what? I was like, I don't want to talk to you. It's one of those things where I don't know if I said it. If I said that, I'm a woman, I am an animal. First, most primary thing you have to recognize about yourself as a human being, you're an animal. People don't like hearing that. They kind of get offended. I say it to show hosts all the time when I'm doing interviews, like if I'm on the radio show, I'm like, we're animals. Oh, no, we're more advanced than that. That's exactly why I'm saying we're animals, because we think we're more advanced than that. We're not. We have some very, very basic instincts. One of those is scent, especially moms. Okay, mom, who's a mom? Okay. Can you or can you not smell your child? Does your child not have a particular scent? Can you smell your mate? Can you identify? If I was to blindfold you, would you be able to identify your mate by smell? That's what I mean. We are animals. We have very, very strong animal, I mean, predatory almost senses in a lot of ways. In your dreams, when you're having connect, again, those senses become incredibly amplified. That's why I would say, because I think when we're in our bodies, when we're, as we are, as I'm presented, hello, it's me, you're within a shell, you're grounded. Whatever electrical force that, I mean, I'm one of these people who truly believes your soul is actually the electromagnetic pulse that's in your body. I think that electricity that powers your heart, powers your blood, I think that is what our soul is comprised of. And I think when we die, you know, people always say, oh, well, laws of energy are a little bit mutable. I mean, it can eventually die. And I'm like, no, it can't. It can only conduct or change. Your definition of death and the scientific definition of death are two different animals. It can only conduct or change. So if that's the case, and we have an oscillating DNA, and while we're sleeping, we're no longer in control of our grounded mechanism, who's to say we're not out there jumping the different frequencies? Is anybody here frequency sensitive? Can anybody here hear pitches that are not normal, that other people cannot hear? Has anybody ever tested themselves with that? See, I'm such a geek. My father's greatest disappointment, I did not become an engineer. Okay. There are certain websites you can go on. It's one of the funniest tests this actually happened to me on a live radio show, and I wanted to fly up to Minnesota and punch the actual host in the face for doing it to me. There are frequencies, different pitches that some people can hear and some people cannot. And it's just a matter of the way your drum and everything is set up here. Well, apparently there is a frequency that only teenagers can hear, quote unquote. And it's a really annoying frequency. And in New York City, they had set up in front of the apartment buildings this particular frequency that if the kids started hanging out and gathering in front of the apartments, they would just flip it on. Yeah. And the kids would disperse because it was annoying. And I was like, oh, come on, there's no way. And so he was like, well, you know, you always say you can hear different frequencies. And He goes, I've heard other investigators say you could hear a pin drop 2 miles away, that you have like incredible hearing. He's like, well, let's try this. And middle of a conversation, he didn't even tell me he was doing it. We're still talking, and he flips it on. I was like, I ripped my headphones off. I was like, holy God. And he was like, I don't hear anything. I was like, dude, that is like a mosquito in your flipping ear, right up on your eardrum, sitting there humping it. I was like, that was the worst experience ever. And I think there was maybe 3 other people out of 72,000 listeners that night who heard it. Don't know why. He says, did you ever get your hearing checked? I was like, yeah, I was told I had perfect hearing. Sometimes more than perfect, it just depends. I can hear things moving at a large distance. How does that wrap in? Again, I don't know, because again, I feel like we're attracted to mates on a frequency level. I think we resonate with different energies, and energy to energy attracts, like energies attract. He could be your polar opposite, she could be your polar opposite. If you're resonating on the same level, there's going to be some kind of a draw. People call that sexual magnetism. It could be. Dreams can be that way sometimes too. But to me, again, it goes back to more of an animal thing. It goes back to more of a natural thing. And I think we're all resonating. Now with that, and if I haven't confused you, muddled you enough, does anybody want to try this out and tell me a dream? And maybe I can, because I'm really good at metaphorical values. Don't know if that's a natural talent or it's just because I've been studying for so long. There are many symbols in our dream world that are what we call universal. But they still mean something different for the dreamer. Do you understand what I'm saying? It has a universal meaning, but it depends on the person having the dream. People always say, well, I dreamt of a shark, perfect example. Shark is an ancient creature. I always tell them, sharks, turtles, alligators. There's certain creatures that we can look back historically and say, okay, these are really ancient creatures. They've been around for a very, very long time. Most of them precede most mammals. And they haven't evolved out of what they are. We can still recognize them in their form. Unlike the horse, the equine, where if you look back in ancient history, the equine is about the size of a medium dog. And now you got equines between 16 and 19 hands tall. So sharks, alligators, they actually have scaled down a little bit from what I've noticed historically, but they're still relatively the same. So if somebody's dreaming of a shark, my first thing is, okay, we're going into the past. If you have a shark in the dream, we're going to go backwards in your timeline. So we're going to go historically back, not necessarily to your childhood, depending on how old you are, it could be teenage, it could be early adulthood. What's the shark doing? Is it just swimming? Is it circling you? Is it trying to attack? Are you afraid? What are you feeling? All these things play in to how it's going to sound to me as a person who's trying to help you. Okay, the shark's attacking. Okay, so now you're either thinking of a person who hurt you in your past, or an event that was really stupid, that you knew better than to do, that damaged your future, damaged your growth, damaged your acceleration, damaged how you would have seen your life going. And I always tell people, metaphorical values are very hard to digest for most of us, because we have to admit we're idiots. Very honest, you have to be really honest with yourself about who you are, and who you want to be. The 3 things that you have always got to keep in mind. Doesn't mean you have to dance naked in front of everybody, but you do have to dance naked in front of yourself. You have to strip away all your inhibitions, your pride, everything. All has to be laid bare, because otherwise you will never understand what went wrong in your past. It has to be honest. I always tell people, you can deny it, you can say, oh, well, I had one girl tell me once, you're telling me that, I have people that don't look nice, don't look highly upon me because they think I talk about them and everything else. I'm like, well, you do. Let's be honest, you do. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. Your dream is telling you that. I don't need to even question the people you're talking to. I can tell you from the dream this is what's happening. No, I swear to God, I don't do that. Yeah, a week later on Facebook, whole drama queen thing going on. And I was like, yeah, you have to be able to accept the stupidest details. I mean, really accept them, love them. And I always tell people, listen, Dreams are not being perfect. They're not about being perfect. The beauty of being human is that we're not perfect. We are imperfect. And the fact is that the imperfections many times are what makes us unique and beautiful. You've got to learn to embrace it. Always embrace it. I was like, even the things we're seeing right now politically, I kind of laugh because I'm like, look at all these people throwing everything at each other. Oh my God, it's a mudslide. Who agrees? Okay, is anybody happy right now with what we're seeing? Or do you think you're sitting in the middle of high school watching a click parade go on? Who can be the most popular? Who's right? Who's wrong? Everybody's trying to shove their opinion down everybody else's throat. And now they're trying to make it legally binding to have everybody else's opinion. Something's wrong. Something's seriously wrong. We have a seriously repressed society in a huge way. They do not know how to talk to each other. They do not know how to communicate. Everybody feels like they've been victimized. Well, yeah, you are victimized. You victimize yourselves. You don't want to be honest with who you are. You don't, like I say, the first step is your dream world. Because that is going to be psychologically the number one place that you're held accountable. When you go to sleep at night. And no, it's not always a bashing. Sometimes it's guidance. Did you guys ever have a week where you're at a job, you're doing job interviews, or you've got a job interview for, and you have a dream? And in the dream, you're running around through a cubicle, or you're kind of panicked a little bit, and you wake up and you think, oh, I'm not going to get a job. Wrong assumption, folks. Wrong, wrong, wrong. It's just basically showing you the chaos you're feeling. It's the emotion. It's trying to drain some of this out. So you don't become a mudslinging idiot that, is basically killing the rest of society. You have to have a ventilation shaft. And it's not necessarily telling you you're going to get the job or you're not going to get the job. But I'll tell you what, one of the biggest things, and I interview a lot of people, especially when I'm going to have guests on my radio show. I have a pretty big radio show. And I do usually background on my guests, unless they're a really good measure and standing, and I know they have a long-term reputation. When I'm background, one of the first things I look for is whether or not they always agree with me. If they're a yes man. If it's always, I don't want them on my show. I want somebody who's going to be honest. I want somebody who's going to ask me really difficult questions. I always tell them, challenge me, because I'm going to challenge you. And I think that's, again, where we've lost it in society right now. We don't challenge each other. We don't challenge ourselves. All right, again, I'm going to open it up. You guys are going to go ahead.
My husband couldn't get out of bed, but he has.
Oh, are you going to ask me to translate his dream?
Yes. It's a recurring dream that he hasn't had for several years. It was as a teenager, where he would. The falling off the building dream.
Out of control.
But it's always the World Trade Center.
Doesn't necessarily, World Trade Center 1, unfortunately, it becomes a huge symbol for World Trade Center 2, whichever one, respectively, because of the event that occurred. That was a life-altering event for all of us. Any of us who were of adult age, or even teen, in fact, I think it affected teenagers more than it did the adults, because they're at that emotional bobbling level. How old was he when 9/11 happened? Was he a teenager?
No.
How old was he? Older?
Older, 20s.
Okay, we're 45, so that's still teenager.
Probably another 10 years after.
So he's probably about 25 to 28 in that range, mid-20s. Still a huge emotional impact because he was raised in the current day and age where we didn't really have war. We had Desert Storm, which really was not a war. I mean, literally, I mean, even me, I was born in 1970, so I don't, no. I mean, I know the Vietnam War was still going and it wound down while I was a child, but I had a very safe, secure childhood and young adulthood when it came to that. These kids now, they don't have that. They've had a childhood and young adulthood that consisted of, oh my God, we're going to be blown off the face of the planet. Oh my God, there's going to be a dirty bomb downtown. Oh my God, they're searching you before you go on a plane. If you had told me 30 years ago I was going to have an x-ray that saw me naked every time I went to the airport, I'd have told you were smoking crack. It's honest. I mean, think about it. These kids and your age group, you guys contend with a lot. And whenever something is going off cue, 9/11 is probably, because it's the largest event that's happened here since Pearl Harbor. I mean, honestly, it was the largest amount of life loss. We were all in shock. And not only that, but now you've got a lot of questions because honestly, nobody trusts the government. So now we have everybody digging into 9/11 saying, did it really happen like that? So we're still playing it out. 14 years after the fact, it's still fresh because it's still being replayed by everybody because we're losing more and more trust in what's going on. That's a bad thing. That's like the Kennedy thing. You don't want that. That's a way bad thing. If he's having that dream, you need to talk to him because something in his life is way off kilter. It's either his job or it's his relationship with you. That's why I say, don't ask me unless you want the answer. Because something is out of control. He feels like he's losing his grip. He could feel like he's losing you for one reason or another. He could feel like he's not in the same place he was at his job, or he's not where he wants to be at his job. But any dream of falling, out of control falling, is always out of control and going. It's kind of like the tornado. People always ask me, what's a tornado dream? I'm like, a tornado dream. And that means you're wiping everything off the planet around you. A tornado dream means chaos. It's constant chaos. Most commonly had by women with young children. Wonder why? But it's true. Or, again, relationships in trouble. You really need to have a hard heart with him and find out. You need to say, because most men will not come home and tell their wives what bothers them, especially not career orientation or relationship orientation. Relationship-wise, they're just going to bark. They don't really want to tell you what's wrong because they don't want the backlash. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Very true statement. Men do not understand women's emotions in a lot of ways, and women don't understand men's lack of emotion in a lot of ways. You got to learn to find the middle ground and get him to trust you, because if it's continuing and it's recurring, it is eating him alive inside, and he's going to get sick. I mean,
well, he said he hasn't had it for years, but just that young
teenagers are always common with that because let's face it, what are teenagers? Yeah, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're, oh yeah, let me go do this. And nowadays, if they do that, it's, oh yeah, I'm going to spend a night in jail. Because whatever they do is pretty much illegal. I mean, things we used to do on a regular basis, our kids be sitting at a po-po for a week, including cow tipping. Anybody else here go cow tipping as a young person? Cow tipper right here. Let me tell you, I was a hell of a sprinter. But if kids do that now, they're going to get arrested for trespassing. They're going to have a permanent criminal record. You're going to pay a lot of money to the court system. There's a lot of stress. There was a lot of stress then. I mean, so that's a very stressed out man. And you can tell him that, love me. And tell him he can come find me if he wants to talk, because I will talk to him about it. But there's no hiding from that. There is no dual purpose to that. Something is up. And as his wife, you're his partner. It's your job, like it or not, unless you don't want to be the partner, to help him get through it. And that means if you got to say, hey, you don't have to tell me, just know I'm here for you. It's as simple as that. And sometimes that's enough to stop that cycle, because he knows no matter what, you got his back. And that's one of the biggest fear men have. They don't want to tell you what's wrong because they're afraid you're not going to have your back. I found that through trial and error. Again, woo, I'm like the queen of that. Anybody else?
Missing a school bus.
What?
Missing a school bus all the time.
Think about that.
Yeah, I know, when you're talking like that.
Procrastination. Does somebody I know procrastinate? I'll do it.
Sorry,
I could guss it all up and make it pretty for you, but it's not going to help you at all.
Right.
And usually, if it's missing the school bus, that means, yeah, it was something pretty important that you're procrastinating on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kick it around, sweetheart. Yeah, it'll stop.
Yeah, I had a recent dream where I was at this animal shelter, and there were all these little baby dying, starving animals, and I only had a little bit of food, and I was trying to do the best I could, and then I found this little dog, and it was like a dog, and it was being contained in like this plastic. And then when I opened it up, it was so deformed, and everybody was afraid of it, but I wasn't. I was going to try to save it.
On a conscious level in your actual active life, are you a person who reaches out and helps everybody and anybody you can?
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense, because to you, again, people can be puppies in your dreams. That's, you don't get it. It's so hard to explain to people how you see the correlation. They're all the same, and yet, and you want to help all of them, and you're always struggling to make sure you're giving enough of yourself here, enough of yourself there, whether it's food, whether it's you. Because again, if you're a people helper, 99% of the time it's here. It's you're giving them mentally part of yourself. Sometimes you can physically help them out. Sometimes it's actually financially helping them out. But you have to do it within reason, because you still have to stay afloat. Although with you, I guarantee because of this one urge, you probably have set yourself back a few times. Yeah. The deformed puppy is the person or the people you truly want to help, that you know it's just, you want to and you want to reach in, but it's too much. Listen to those instincts sometimes, because it's not necessarily, it's not telling you to stop helping people, but sometimes it becomes dangerous. When you overtip with giving of yourself. I am wholly 100% about helping society and everybody giving as much as they can to each other. I think if that happened more naturally, we wouldn't see the shit show we see right now in society. But there's also a stopping point, because at some point it's almost an offsetting of your own needs. You need emotional caring too, and I think you might get gratification from caring for others. It's okay. I mean, I know a lot of people like that. I can be like that, but it can also be very damaging to you. And at some point, that deformed puppy. So just be careful. I know it's hurtful, but it's true. And again, I'm always saying, try to help you. Look to you. Try to build yourself up. You can't help anybody else unless you're in a strong place anyway, because otherwise you're just going to keep falling back down, and you're never going to get out of that shelter.
Yeah, pretty tough. You get this, you get that.
Yeah, because you're constantly trying to divide yourself.
And the other wasn't, so I was trying to make that decision.
Well, you're the type that takes a phone call like 4 o'clock in the morning just to help somebody, and you can't always do that. You have got to learn to look after you. And I always say this, people hate it when I say this, because again, I'm not sure who's familiar with me, who's not. I am a pagan. I'm not Christian. So I don't necessarily see things the way Christians do. And I always say, you cannot love yourself. And it's not a selfish thing to love yourself. It's a beautiful thing to love yourself. But if you can't love yourself and accept who you are wholeheartedly, you cannot love anybody else. Not really. You will never have a true giving and taking relationship with somebody, because it's never a real pretense. You don't love yourself enough. You don't even know yourself. So take that time. Take care of yourself. Ease back a little bit. Don't be so willing to jump into everybody else's turmoil, because it's going to engulf you if you're not careful. Anybody else?
I have a question. It's not necessarily about the dream, but I have a son that has extreme night terrors. He won't talk about it once he's awake, but to the point where it's all you can do to get him awake, because he's literally screaming, pouring in sweat, consciously not there, and it's almost like he's living out whatever.
Have you talked to his pediatrician?
We have.
What does the pediatrician say?
I think he's hoping that they'll grow out of it. He sleepwalks too, a lot.
My niece actually used to do that. Some of that can be eating habits. Be careful of the sugar levels that your kids are ingesting. Be careful of the gunk that they have in their bodies. And I don't say that lightly, because really it can cause issues. And the doctors will tell you that. We have some really good pediatricians right now who are recognizing the fact that your health is very, very important to your sleep. I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember a pediatrician or my doctor ever telling me, hey, don't drink more than 2 cups of coffee. It's important, especially with children. Children are kind of a different category. It's always very touchy to talk about children, because sometimes medically there's an issue there. But like I said, I have a niece who, between the ages of 2 and 7, she was an absolute, it was a mess. she would have night terrors constantly. This was a child who parents were multimillionaires. She came from a very stable background. There was no emotional reasons that we could see that would cause it. And I kept saying, what's her diet? What are you feeding her? She's eating Fruit Loops. I mean, be very careful, because right now there's so many chemicals and there's so many things in our foods. Too much of it. I mean, heck, just 5 years ago, they'd say, oh, you have to have this much milk a day. Now they're saying, don't touch the low-fat milk. Do not drink the low-fat milk. I don't know about you guys, but they always told us to drink the low-fat milk, to stay away from the regular milk. Now it's just like, yeah, don't touch milk, period. So whoop-de-hoo here is buying organic milk, just to be safe. And I don't even know if that's safe. Everything in moderation with food. Do not overdo anything. Don't take away food either, unless you find an allergy. And that's the other thing. There might be an allergy there somewhere.
Yeah, he has allergic to peanuts, and at one time he was allergic to eggs. So he's on a
restrictive diet?
I mean, it's very restrictive. So, and we don't do sugar because he has a lot of ADHD and other problems as well.
Oh, well, that's going to play into that.
It's just really hard to know. He's very psychic. I don't know how to describe it. We could be outside of the house.
Empathic.
And I mean, it's.
I told you, that's me as natural. I mean, people look at me like I have 9 heads when I say that, but it is an animal instinct. We do sense each other. We all have a fight or flight instinct. There's reasons we have those things. We're animals. And we need to know when we're in danger. Children are no different. Children just don't know how to focus it, define it, or calm it yet. As far as ADHD goes, again, I'm going to get in trouble for what I have to say as far as this. The fact is careful what he eats. Careful with chemical balances, please. Try to stay as organic as you can. And I know it's expensive, but
Yeah.
try to keep away from the chemicals, please. It's not doing him any good. Watch his vaccine schedule. Make sure what he's doing on the vaccine schedule. I mean, you can talk. Most doctors are actually pretty free talking about it. They'll discuss it with you. Just say, I don't know if I'm comfortable. Because some of these kids have 6 to 8 vaccines in a session. And I'm not saying don't get a vaccine. I'm saying make sure you're comfortable with the amount of what's going into his body. Because that's a lot of chemicals.
Yeah, we actually held and spread them out.
Yeah, that's smart. Because again, that's a lot of chemicals. And that all processes through their system. When they go to sleep, it's still processing. You're not shutting down when you're sleeping. You're just simply slowing down. Do not try to wake him when he's having dreams like that. That can be dangerous for you and for him. When he's sleepwalking, do not try to wake him up. That can be very dangerous. Follow him. Don't let him go. I mean, don't let him, obviously try to guide him back into the house, but do not try to shake him awake or anything like that, because again, he could get hurt, you could get hurt, and not because he's trying to hurt. Again, sleepwalker. I slept drove. I was 15 years old, and I think I told you guys this a couple years ago. It's like 16 years old, got up, I thought it was a school morning. Drove all the way to Harvard High School. My dad followed me because he didn't want to wake me up. All the way, 40-minute drive to my high school, and woke up in the parking lot. And he was like, "It's Saturday, honey." I have no recollection. I said to him, "I still can't believe I did that." He goes, "Honey, you used to sit in the living room." He goes, "We'd come down in the middle of the night, your mother would be like, she's in the living room again. She thinks it's the bathroom." I don't know if it was because I just was a deep sleeper, but even my fiance will tell you, even now, yeah, I sleepwalk and I sleep talk. You can ask me anything. Yeah. That's backfired on me several times. My mom used to come in the middle of the night. Seth, were you really at the library? I'd be grabbing for like 4 months and be like, why? Yeah. Good old mom. She knew that, but it's apparently hereditary. She knew what to do. Anybody else?
Does sleep talking mean anything? I'm a sleep mumbler, and sometimes if my mom used to do the same thing. She'd come in and just ask me questions or whatever, and sometimes my wife will have a conversation with me. And
Mates are
there's a standing rule in my house. If I'm laying in bed in the morning and either my wife or my children want to have a conversation or ask me questions, I cannot be held responsible for what I tell them.
Oh, I had that rule too.
That's a standing rule in my house, because they'll come to me later and say, well, you said this.
Mom, can I have that $300 in your wallet? No joke, no true story.
But I'll say a lot of random things and such. Is there any meaning to any of that?
Depends. I mean, usually you're in a phase in between sleep. You're not REM usually when you're sleep talking, unless you're literally, like I know I sit up and I will start talking in Italian. I am a full-blooded Italian. I was raised with Italian spoken in my household, so I do speak Italian, but for some reason in my dream world, that's the preferred language. No clue why. I'm obviously very American. I prefer English, but my sleep life, I speak in Italian usually. I know he can talk to me. My fiance is, he's actually out there. He's Puerto Rican descent, and he didn't know for the first 4 months we were together that I spoke Spanish fluently. Did you know that? I can be tricky like that. Yeah, he found out after a phone call with his sister where he was discussing me in Spanish, and I was like, really? But he's like, I knew you were bilingual. I didn't know you were trilingual. I was like, well, it's not a big jump from Italian to Spanish, just a few words, but if you screw those words up, when you mix them. But I do speak Italian in my dream world usually. Like talking in my sleep a lot of times it is Italian. He can question me in Spanish, I'll answer in Spanish. But I think it's because I'm between wake and sleep. I'm somewhat lucid. It's not really lucid sleep, it's not lucid dreaming, but you're not in full REM, not really.
My wife's water broke, and she said, it's time to go to the hospital, my water broke. I said, I'll autograph it later. And
oh, that's great, man. I'd have that one put on bathroom towels. I'll autograph it later. You'd never put that down, buddy.
No, I don't.
Anybody else?
I think I kind of understand this dream. I have it recurring. I'm studying hypnotherapy right now. And I have a really good friend of mine who we're always at a club because he's a music producer, so I guess that's why. But and I'm doing hypnosis on him for like past life regression. But he goes so far into a state like we can't wake him, but like it's almost like he's dying. So because we have to call an ambulance from the other, and I can't get him out of it.
Do you have a fear of what you're doing?
Maybe a little bit. Because I'm not quite there yet. So.
Yeah, that's a cautionary tale. That's your subconscious kind of saying. But you know, it's okay, and it's funny that you're at a club because, again, this is my association. I don't know if it's yours, but my brain automatically went to the frequencies, the rhythms, because hypnosis, as you know, hypnotherapy and hypnosis is a lot about modulation. It's a lot about harmonics, and that's strange that you would be in a club. Don't be so afraid. Just be err with caution with everything you do. Make sure you have enough knowledge to do what you're doing. You know, like I always say, when I'm doing this, I'm like, you know, what I say does not necessarily apply to everybody. Because guess what? I don't have a PhD in this. This is just my own experiences, my own perceptions. My years and years and years and years of trying to track down why I do certain things. This all started because of personal quest, a very personal quest, to try to figure out why, and to basically make myself feel not so abnormal. And that's what I would tell, you know, wherever I've spoken to, and I have spoken to psychologists, psychiatrists, you name it, doctors, physical doctors, because I actually do have a physical interaction when I'm doing when I'm having a dream that's showing me something that's coming. My body heat skyrockets, like thermonuclear levels of body heat, to the point where I don't even have to be emotionally upset because I've kind of learned to compartmentalize a lot of my emotions in my dream world. But I wake up and I am, like I had 105-degree fever. I am pouring with sweat. I can still feel like the waves coming off me. I have had men in my life tell me that it's like a fire. When I'm dreaming like that, they always know. That's the first indicator that I'm having that dream. They'll start feeling like pulses of heat coming off. And of course, now I'm 45, so I can always say, it's like hormones, I swear! But it's not. It's been happening since I was, you know, a kid, and it's always the same pattern. And that's why another reason I started looking into whether or not this was actually my energy going somewhere else, because that would take great amounts of speed, which would cause my body temperature to have to rise to keep up. Again, I research a lot of things very deeply because I want to understand this. I believe it is natural. I always tell people we're not supernatural freaks. We're very natural. Some of us are just a little bit more tuned into certain things, and it's because we're forced to be tuned into it. It's not because we want to. Pay attention when you have dreams that repeat. Obviously, yours is saying, hey, you're a little afraid here. You need to, relax. You're not going to kill anybody with hypnotherapy, I promise. It's not going to happen.
I know that.
If you do, I want to know about it because I'll interview you on my radio show. We'll do it from jail. Relax. Trust yourself. And again, your dream won't tell you that. I'm telling you that. Just calm down. Take a deep breath. You're a smart woman. You know what you're doing. So you're not going to kill anybody. Anybody else?
I have had a recurring dream since I was a young child. I don't exactly remember what age it started. The dream is really strange because the dream that I have is a house that I don't believe I've ever been in this life, because I don't remember ever being in that house. And as I was growing up, I never was taught about paranormal or anything of that sort. Never was any discussion.
So you were a normal household.
But in this dream, I'm going into the living room. The living room has a fireplace and a couch against the wall, windows over here. And every time I go into this room, I'm afraid. There's an invisible energy in there, and I'm afraid, and I don't know why. And each time I'm in the dream, I try to force myself to stay in there longer. But it was all, and whenever I dream it, I'm a small child. I'm not an adult. And I don't know what that is.
You may want me to talk to you after class.
Okay.
It's going to be a little bit personal.
Okay.
I got to ask you a couple things about your childhood.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be, again, multiple things, but I think I know where it's going. The other thing I need to mention, if the other fit is there, people who here believes in past lives. Obviously, you do. No, not her. I'm studying past life regression and hypnotherapy. What do y'all think past lives are? Just hypothetically, if you were to guess, besides if you could, okay, obviously, dude, I got 2 minutes. We're gonna fast forward this. If you could say, okay, past life is you died after living a previous life. That's what most of us think it is. What if it is cellular memory or DNA-based memory? And I've always asked that because people say, well, I wasn't related to this person. Oh, honey, more of us are related. There's at least probably 10 of us in this room that are actually related by some blood bond several generations back. Okay, we all descended from certain individuals. We are all actually related in more ways than you can count. What if it's a cellular level memory? And that's what I've always asked you. What if this memory is very, because we know that we have cases that have donor organs. We have all these different replacements. And what's happening in these situations? What reports are we getting? We're getting reports of residual memories, of olfactory senses that are triggered from the donor, not the recipient. Things that are not scientifically currently possible. But yet now we're also seeing that maybe it is scientifically possible. We are seeing reports now that they're proving, they're unlocking some of these genetics, and they're saying, yeah, there seems to be some kind of residual code of memory that passes. What if that's what past life is? What if that's what we think we experience? That kind of puts a whole different twist on whole life, death, and whether or not we have an afterlife, doesn't it? Kind of depressing.
On that note.
Under that theory, though, there would be no past life.
Exactly. You'd be living through basically a cellular burp in your genetic code. But again, I am, because again, that's how scientific I will get. I break things down so I can try to understand it. But again, I also have to say, I look at the law of energy and the conservation. Where's our energy going? It's got to go somewhere. Even if it's just floating out there. Hello, I'm your ghostie today. pretend if I believe it or not, I've been doing this 20 some odd years, I know something's going on, just not sure what. What if the phase is between dimensions? You know, again, you're looking at it speeding up, you know, what is going on? That, I gotta call it quits before the next speaker has my hand on it.
In fact, our next speaker is going to be Amy Dunn,
Oh, is it?
Ethics. So if you guys want to grab a drink and come